I started my setup in the backyard building a cage for my chickens, and I had a ramp there and they would roost up top at night, and that was great. But I wanted to get into quail as well, so I built this smaller cage and had a few birds in there, got some experience with it. But at the time I was letting my chickens run out into the yard free ranging during the day, and they were really loving that. They'd actually much prefer that. They really got cranky if I kept them in the cage all day. So I decided to remove the ramp and put a ramp out the back, and then the chickens could still access the roost at night, but it freed up all of this space for quail as well. And in effect it tripled my real estate that I had available for quail, and that just increased the production level I could have. So I really got into the quail from that point on. This cage has been around for a few years now, and it has survived quite well. When I built this, I built it in panels, and then I tipped it up and then essentially just screwed it all together. And it's built on sleepers. So I just had sleepers I dug out. Nothing is concreted in because I wanted to be able to move it if I had to and dismantle it. So if I needed to move this, yeah, it would be a bit of a hassle, but it's possible, and I could just remove the birds and dismantle it, move the sleepers and replot an area for it. So I built it with staples originally holding the mesh on, but over time what happens is the wind blows, and it eventually, as the wind keeps shaking this, that it pulls them out. Some of them even snap off. So what I've gone is to an actual flat screw that holds really well. So you need to do that, and it's worth checking. You have to replace them every now and then. Occasionally I've had a couple of rats get in because I've had to put a couple of areas that I didn't think about rats getting in, but they did. They didn't do anything to the quail, but they're just a hassle. So other than that, I did have some chicken food and water going down there. I don't use the food anymore for the quail, but I'd use the water. So the water system goes down, and this one's for the chickens outside, but there's a watering system inside there, and that holds a fair bit. But depending on the number of birds, I have to fill it up every few days in summer, and so the chickens roost up in here. But for the quail, I was fortunate enough to have a friend weld up this metal door for me. I started out, when I first had it, was a wooden door, but it just warped, and yeah, it was a pain. So this has stood the test of time. It's been quite good. The setup I have in here, I've just put this bedding in. It looks like a mess, but they're going to flatten it out, so I haven't done it for them. But I have a dirt bath here, and I have a raised area to keep the stuff out. They like digging in there and laying eggs. It helps clean the feathers. So, and the other one, I try to beautify it a little bit, make it more natural. So there's a few cut logs there, and there's cut walkthroughs that they can use. I have the sandbox. They really love that too, and the feeders that I have to just top up once a week. And other than that, it's really not too bad. I have to just clean it 3 times a year, and they're all pretty self-sufficient. It's just a matter of collecting the eggs. The smaller cage is very similar. Again, another watering system, and also had another steel door welded up. It's the same sort of thing. So in here I've just got, these are where I put my breeders pretty much, the ones I want to keep the genetics of. Again, there's a dirt area over there which they're fluffing around in. Probably needs a clean out. I've got a couple of feeders in there. I try to keep some sort of natural plants growing in here, but they need some care at the moment, and they're a bit fighty right now. The other thing that I have on my cages is, it needs a bit of a clean, but a clear roof. I found that was the best thing to do because it lets a lot of the light through, although yeah, there's a lot of debris on there at the moment. So I'm going to have to clean that off, but yeah, it lets a bit more light in, so light is the key for these eggs to be produced. In both of these cages I always have something where they can get out of the weather, whether that's just they're frightened of a predator or something, or they want to get out of the wind, or if it's really cold, although this climate's not too bad for that. Just somewhere where they can get under it, so the other birds in the big cage they can get under the roost, and particularly if a hawk or an eagle was around in the trees, they pick it up pretty quick and they get really scared. So it's a chance for them just to have somewhere to be comfortable. Anything they can get under, they love. They love that sort of protection. It's their natural state to be able to hide away.